Ladies and gentlemen, we have huge news in the 2024 cycle. The presidential candidate, Cenk Uygur, has suspended his campaign and is formally out. We were saddened to hear it, but this announcement just came within the past hour. POTUS candidate Cenk Uygur announces on TYT Live that he's officially suspending his campaign for president, reflecting on fighting for naturalized citizens, for Biden to drop out, and for Palestinians. I do respect he is fighting for Biden to drop out. We can agree on that one. He says, this was part of my announcement on TWT that I'm suspending the campaign and no longer actively campaigning as a candidate. I'm honest about what we were able to accomplish and what we weren't. Love my supporters for trying to make a difference. Now, you may be asking, what? Well, I got to be honest. Yeah, Nikki Haley also dropped out, but she never mattered in the first place. There was no big question on her campaign. It was utter confusion the whole time. And of course, the actual big story that everyone's been talking about all day is that Nikki Haley has exited the Republican presidential race. I'm just going to go ahead and say this. Cenk Uygur's presidential campaign mattered 100 times more than Nikki Haley's. Because at the very least, he was asking a constitutional question. He was not born in the United States, but he believes that the 14th Amendment changed those rules. And as a naturalized citizen, he's entitled to all of the rights of any other citizen, including running for the office of presidency. Many disagree. Instead, everybody's talking about Nikki Haley, who finally quit. But to be fair, she won Vermont. You know, open.
Yeah, that was really important.
It's an open primary.
Out of the park, yeah.
And I you know, what's happening now with her suspension announcement, she said Trump needs to win over the people who supported me. And we're hearing from, I think the Daily Beast wrote something up saying, the fact that, 30% of Republicans wanted Nikki Haley over Trump says a lot. And I'm like, one, it doesn't.
No.
Because a lot of people wanted Ted Cruz and didn't get him, and they still voted for Trump.
Anybody but Trump. That's the anybody but Trump group, right?
Yeah, and two, Vermont's an open primary, so I'm not going to count all these Democrats. They mean nothing. So here we are, and then finally on the Biden front, you got to shout out. This is Jason Palmer. I didn't even get his name right in the intro. Jason Palmer beat Joe Biden in American Samoa.
I got to go there one day.
He's big in American Samoa.
Yeah, definitely. It's got to be like on the list now.
Man,
it's like being big in Japan, but you're big in Samoa,
I wonder if he's ever been there. I mean, like, they just, it was 50 votes, I think.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so maybe
That's
it's
amazing.
just, I wonder if a bunch of people in Samoa were like, we can't vote for Biden.
Yeah, they just liked the way his name sounded and he was on the ballot.
They're probably concerned about Taiwan.
What was the...
we need a real commander.
What was that guy's name? There was some guy on the primary ballot named President R, like Bideau or something. Did you see that?
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, what was it? Someone Google that real quick. Get his name. Because what people were assuming is that this guy put himself on the list so that elderly people with poor vision would see President Bideau or whatever and vote for him.
I can't find it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you know how to look it up? I can't find it.
Look up President R primary. And then that should come up. Did anybody find it?
I did not find it.
Really?
Yep.
It's on my Twitter.
It's on your Twitter.
How could you guys not find this? You got to learn how to do your internet research. What's going on?
Yeah, well, my favorite thing was Biden coming out trying to make a play for Nikki Haley's voters. And he said, Donald Trump made it clear he doesn't want Nikki Haley's supporters. I want to be clear there is space for them in my campaign. And then he said, there's a lot we don't agree on. And went on to talk about democracy and a whole bunch of nonsense. But as I was looking at this statement earlier today, I realized I don't even know what Nikki Haley stands for. I don't know anything about her platform other than probably sending a lot of money overseas.
Yeah, she wanted to make everyone sign up with her social security number to use social media too. She's kind of
it was body
on that.
President R body, right above Joseph R. Biden Jr. And Democrats were getting mad. They were like, is this guy trying to confuse people? And I'm just like, if your name is Biden, if your last name is Biden, you should change your first name to President and definitely put yourself on those ballots. I'm kidding. Don't do that. But it would what if this guy's name was actually like Richard Biden and he changed his name to President?
Or what if he was named President? What if his parents were just really aspirational? Like if you name your kid Doctor, he'll be like Doctor.
For sure.
Yeah.
Can't you put almost any name you want on some of these ballots, though, in some states?
I can't believe he was actually able to put President.
Yeah.
But the Democrats were like, elderly folks with poor vision are going to see President R. Bod and be like, that's him.
Voting for the president.
What state was this in?
It was actually all over, I'm pretty sure. I don't know what state this one was, though. California.
Oh, wow.
That's weird that Biden's at the bottom. I think they put him at the top of the list.
They do it randomly.
Do they do it randomly?
Yeah, most states do it randomly.
Who's Gabriel Cornejo?
That looks like it's in reverse alphabetical order. that list.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it is. Oh no, you're right. It's not. Cambridge and Cornejo are.
They do
Yeah,
it randomly to be
uh-huh.
fair, because if you're at the top, it's shown that you have an advantage, actually.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Oh, you
Literally,
mean
it's
by
random.
last name?
Last
you're
name,
saying.
alphabetical last name, reverse, but it's not.
it's close.
Maybe it is random.
Yeah.
I'm glad Cenk. I have a lot of respect for Cenk Uygur as a person. For the last 20 years, I've enjoyed watching his stuff. More off and on, I disagree with a lot of what he says.
Yeah, particularly about horses, but
Particularly about the equine nature of reality.
Love.
But I massively appreciate he puts his money where his mouth is. He hires a bunch of people. He runs a news organization, and he runs for president. The guy has balls.
especially when he was accused of union busting. That was ballsy.
You know-
I respect that. When you're a progressive running a liberal leftist organization, claim to be progressive, and then you yell and scream at people and for when they try to form a union. I mean, that shows that you really care about the capitalist enterprise that you're engaged in.
Well, I don't know about that part. But I think that this whole, should you be a naturalized citizen to run for president? Do you have to be born here? Not, because
It's a
right
good
before the
question
show,
to ask, right?
Like
I mean, we should be asking these questions.
Like Tim was mentioning before the show, a member of the Chinese Communist Party comes over here, pops the baby out in 3 days, goes back with the baby to China, raises the baby as a Chinese Communist Party member. Then when the baby's 38, they fly over here speaking barely any English. Well, maybe they know English at that point. They can run for president, even though they're a Communist Party member, just because those 3 days they were born in the... Nah. Cenk Uygur is way more respect and I think authority to run for president than that kid would.
This is I actually agree a lot with Cenk Uygur's argument on the right to run for president. Not so much that I think he's correct, but I agree there's a problem. And he argued that as a naturalized citizen, he should be entitled to all the rights and privileges of any other citizen. But the Constitution so far, or the rulings and interpretation has been he cannot be president because he wasn't born here, despite being naturalized. So he's a citizen; he can vote. It's an interesting question. And as Ian pointed out before the show got started, the argument I had with him, I should say the agreement was, there's birth tourism. People from China will fly to California. They do this today. Within like a month of when they're about to give birth, stay, give birth to their children, and then a week or two later, or whenever they're getting out of the hospital, fly back to China. Now their child is eligible for American. Their child's a citizen, eligible to be the president. So this kid could be flown back to communist China as a card-carrying Chinese Communist Party member, indoctrinated, supported, and trained, and then 35 years later, come back to the U.S. without speaking a word of English and run for president. That
That's
one
not
doesn't
fair.
make sense.
That's not fair.
Definitely possible. Well, I mean, it's a good question. We should really examine birthright citizenship in general and, what the rights of being naturalized actually mean. What does it actually mean to be naturalized? And you can vote for president, but you can't run? Kind of weird.
What if the compromise is we eliminate birthright citizenship, but this means naturalized citizens can be president? Can't hear you.
It makes sense.
It's a
Serge is
different...
talking,
Serge
but
said,
it's not-
Serge I
said
get
yes.
it.
But Serge, you have to understand,
likes it.
everyone else
I concur
at home
with
just hears
Serge.
dead silence for 3 seconds.
Right. That's true.
You like that idea, though? I'm going to make you talk. Talk to me, Serge.
Forcing
I'm just trying to stay out of the
Serge to get the
conversation.
mic.
So I'm a naturalized citizen, and I appreciate that, because then that means that the stuff that I went through to become a citizen then is worth something. It makes it worthy of what it is. So yeah, I'm for that.
Why should we value an illegal immigrant who crosses the border, running from law enforcement, who then gives birth, and that kid now has more rights than Serge does, and Serge is someone who came here, worked really, really hard legally to become a citizen? I think it's an interesting question. I think Cenk is right about that. I disagree with him politically, but I do think there's a problem where illegal immigrants can come here, have kids, and then that kid could be a
You know what?
president.
Or anyone.
I think that's pretty interesting. I like this idea, this naturalized citizens can become president thing. I think that's what it is in a lot of places. I think that's probably what it is in Canada and the UK, which would be most similar, I think, to us, although I'm not sure. But the thing that means is no amnesty, no like mass amnesty for 8 million illegal immigrants who randomly walked across the border or got flown in after making an appointment on an app as to when they would illegally cross the border and get, their asylum date. So yeah, I think that would work. Remove birthright citizenship, go with naturalized citizens can become president, but then absolutely, if you entered the country illegally, no, you can never become then you should never be able to become a naturalized citizen. Maybe something like that. just spitballing here. But like there should be really strict rules. If we're opening up the privileges, then access to those privileges needs to be earned in a really serious way. You can't just wander across the border, be part of a mass amnesty, and then run for president.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.